In this one, I'm going to show you 3 separate repurposing workflows that will actually drive results no matter what social media platform that you use. The main thing to understand here is that all of the social media platforms dislike duplicate content. Platforms are really cracking down on accounts that are basically just, taking footage from other people and maybe making a few minor tweaks, edits, resizing the video, adding some effects, or, adding video game footage underneath and things like that. You also don't want to cross repost. For example, if you have 2 TikTok accounts, you have your main TikTok account and your backup TikTok account, and you're thinking, oh, well, I already create this video on my main account. Why not just repost it to my second account and get double the views? What will most likely happen is the views will be throttled. You won't get very many views, or the accounts can even become shadow banned. Okay, so here we have 3 repurposing automation workflows. I'm gonna go ahead and start on this one right here. And this is probably the most basic. And this one assumes that TikTok is your primary platform that you like to post on. Well, if that was the case, then you can basically set up some simple automation to where every time you post on TikTok, it's going to automatically send that video over to Pinterest, over to Instagram Reels, Twitter, X, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat, whatever other short form platforms that you want. And it's also important to note that the repurposing system is going to automatically reformat these videos based on what platform that it's going to. So for example, it might add some hashtags that are specific to X, or if it's going to, Facebook Reels, then it might add a link with a call to action because Facebook Shorts allows you to do that. Or similar to YouTube Shorts, it might have a certain description with a call to action and a link that goes onto the YouTube description. So you can set all of this up to where it's going to happen 100% completely on autopilot. All of the automation workflows that I'm showing you are going to use this tool and this tool, or for the last automation workflow, it's going to be using this tool as well. So again, you can get to this page with the link down below this video. Okay, but essentially the primary purpose of every single video that you create should be to send traffic to your product offer. And then once these videos get posted to these other platforms, they are going to be sending traffic to your product offer as well. Okay, so that way, every single time you post a TikTok video, you're gonna get all of these additional videos that are helping to drive traffic to your product offer. Now, a lot of people that post on TikTok get this wrong because they'll just have, dozens of different buttons with all kinds of random stuff. And the reason that those types of setups don't generally convert very well is because it's just too random and people don't necessarily know what they're even looking at. So again, if you put all of your effort into a very specific purpose, a very specific product, and there is a video of you demonstrating that product, using that product, explaining the benefits of that product, that's going to significantly increase the amount of people who click your affiliate link and actually purchase that product. Okay, so that's setup number 1. So let's go ahead and move on to setup number 2 right here. And this assumes that you are using YouTube as your primary posting platform. You're posting long form content, and this setup uses both this tool and this tool. But essentially what you're doing is posting your long form video onto YouTube. You're then going to paste your YouTube URL onto the AI clipping tool. And from there, this tool is basically going to create, anywhere from like 5 to 20 short form videos, depending on how long your YouTube video is. So at this point, all I do is choose the short videos that I want. And then I just take all the videos that I want and I drop them into a Google Drive folder. And from there, the repurposing software is going to take all of those videos from the Google Drive folder and it's going to start formatting them and posting them to all of the relevant short form platforms. And again, the goal of all of these platforms is to send traffic to your actual product offer, whatever that offer is. Okay, and finally, let's talk about this automation workflow right here. And this one is more for video podcasts, but essentially I'll post a video podcast on YouTube that will automatically be converted into the audio version from the repurposing software, and then we'll automatically send it to the podcast hosting software, and then that will automatically publish that podcast onto every single podcast network, including Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, and all the rest. What's also going to happen is the same thing that happened before. It's going to go into the AI clipping tool, and that's going to create a bunch of short form videos, add captions, do all of that. And then I'm going to choose the short form videos that I want and drop those into a Google Drive folder. And then from there, it's obviously going to be sent to all of the various short form platforms. So really the only thing that I'm doing here is publishing a video podcast and choosing the short form videos that I want. And that's basically it. The automation is doing everything else, which is literally a full-time job that I would have had to previously hire a VA to do all of that work. And of course, like always, the goal is to have all of these platforms trying to accomplish one thing. They're all sending traffic to whatever our offer is. Okay, every single piece of content that's published has one goal. And again, this is why we start with the product first, because if we know in the back of our mind that we're trying to get traffic to go to this product offer, then subconsciously, every single piece of content we create is going to be in better alignment with that objective. So below this video, I'm going to have a few things for you. Number one, I'm of course going to have the list of the tools. And number two, I will have a link to this mind map so that you can look at this in more detail. I would highly suggest creating your own mind map so that you can understand exactly what's being posted from where and all that good stuff. Now, obviously you can customize your automation flows however you see fit, but just about every single automation flow that I create is based on one of these three models. So that's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, so on this one, I'm gonna walk you through the setup on Repurpose.io so that every time you post a piece of content on your main platform, whichever of the big three you've decided to use, every time you make a post there, it's going to automatically go to the rest like this. So if you don't have Repurpose yet, be sure to scroll down below this video, click the link to set up a Repurpose.io account, and then you'll be able to follow along with this video. With Repurpose.io, you're primarily going to be working in the workflows and the connections. And the first thing that you need to do is go to your connections, and this is where you're actually going to link your accounts with Repurpose.io. And so basically what you're going to want to do in the connections is click this little pink button right here. And this is where you can add all of your social media accounts. So for example, if you have 3 TikTok accounts, you're going to want to do this 3 times with each of those TikTok accounts and get all 3 of them connected to Repurpose.io. Same with YouTube. If you have multiple YouTube accounts, you're going to want to connect all 3 of those accounts, and you want to make sure that you name those accounts what they're actually named on YouTube or on Twitter or whatever social platform. You want to make sure that you actually name them so that you can stay organized, and again, make sure that you know what's connected to what and stuff like that. So make sure that you name them what they're actually named on the platform itself. As you can see here, I have 3 YouTube accounts connected. I have 3 Twitter accounts connected. I have 1 TikTok account connected. But here's the thing, if I come back to connections with Facebook and Instagram, these work a little bit differently because you can have multiple accounts from the same connection. Some people get a little bit confused here, so I'm going to go ahead and walk you through this part. Okay, so when it comes to Instagram, the Instagram account, what we need to do is first you have to, on your Instagram account, you have to make sure that that Instagram account is set to a business account. Okay, the next thing you need to do is when it comes to anything that is owned by Meta, which is of course Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, all these different things, it all has to function through the Meta automation ecosystem. And that means you have to have a Facebook account in order for this to function properly. Now, you don't actually have to do much with Facebook. You just have to kind of set it up, and then you don't ever have to look at it ever again. But I'm going to go ahead and walk you through this process so that you know exactly what to do. So first, I'm going to go ahead and open up Facebook right here, and we're going to log in to Sierra's
Facebook account right here. Okay, now right here we're logged into Sierra's personal Facebook account, but what we have to do is we have to set up a business page on Facebook. And so on the left hand side here, you can see these are some of the pages that I've already set up on Sierra's Facebook page. And so I'm going to go through the process as if I was doing this for the first time. Okay, so if you were doing this for the first time, then you want to come on this left-hand side and you want to find where it says Pages. Okay, so I'm going to click Pages, and then I'm going to come right here where it says Create New Page. Now all you have to do here is just basically put in the page name, category, none of this stuff really matters, and then you're going to create the page. In fact, I'll just go ahead and do it, and I'll type in Sierra 6. Okay, for category, we're just going to go ahead and put in model, and bio we can leave blank, and I'm just going to hit create page. Okay, so this will go ahead and create the page right here. Okay, so the page is now created. I'm just going to go ahead and hit next on these steps and see if we can skip through all this stuff right here and hit done. Okay, and that's it. Now the page is done. You don't really have to do anything with this page at all. You don't have to post content to it. You don't have to do anything like that. But what you do have to do is you have to now link the Instagram account to this business page. And once you've done that, that is basically the whole process. And so in order to do that, you're going to come to settings right here, and then you're going to come to linked accounts, and then you're going to connect the Instagram account right there. And so basically you'll just need to do this for all of the Instagram accounts. If you have 4 Instagram accounts, you'll need 4 Facebook pages. If you have 5 Instagram accounts, you'll need 5 Facebook pages. Each Instagram account needs to be connected to those individual Facebook pages. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and come back to repurpose.io. Okay, so this time what I'm going to do is come back up here again. This time we're going to go to Instagram. Now with Instagram, basically all of the Instagram accounts are going to be run through this single connection. So I'll kind of show you what I mean by that right here. So I'm going to type in all accounts. Okay, so I'm going to hit connect. That's going to bring us back here. And so I've already done this, so this is what mine looks like. Yours is probably going to look something like this. Now, all of the Instagram accounts are going to show up in here. If they do not appear, if you do not see the Instagram accounts in here, that means that they are A, not set as a business account on Instagram, or B, they're not connected to a Facebook business page. So you need to make sure that they are set as a business account on Instagram and they are connected to a Facebook business page. All right, so these are all the accounts, and so I want to make sure that all the accounts are selected right here. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 selected. I'm going to go next, and you want to do the same thing with the actual Facebook business pages. Again, you don't have to do anything at all with the Facebook business pages. They just have to exist, and they have to be selected in here in order for the automation to work. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 selected right there. I'm going to hit next, and then done. And that is it. So now I've got all of the Instagram accounts connected through this one Instagram connection. Okay, so now that the connections are set up, we can go ahead and build the actual chains.
Now, the way that you set up your chains is completely up to you, but I'll show you kind of how I have these ones set up at the moment. So if I bring the mind map back on the screen right here, we're going to see each one of these connections reflected inside of repurpose.io. So if we look at this TikTok account, it's the user ending in 6005, and we can see that that 6005 account is going to this Sierra Ryan Snapchat account. So if I look at repurpose on here, we can see that connection right here. TikTok 005 is going to this Snapchat Sierra Ryan account right there. We can also see that, okay, the same 6005 account is sending content to this Hey, It's Sierra account. So I should also be able to see that in repurpose, and we can see that right here. This 6005 TikTok account is sending content to Hey, It's Sierra Instagram account. So I can't express how important it is that you actually go ahead and set up one of these mind maps for yourself. If you don't, it's going to be extremely messy. You're going to end up sending, the wrong content to the wrong accounts, double posting and causing shadow bans and all kinds of issues. So I would highly, highly suggest that if you don't have this mind map software, again, it's called Lucid, it's free. You set up an account, and this way you can map out your actual automation strategy so that you know with extreme clarity what is being posted where, and just making sure that you keep everything very organized when you are doing this. So obviously I've already done this, but let's just pretend that I'm doing it for the first time, and I've, built out my little mind map right here. I know what's going to be posted to where, and now I just have to actually build it inside of Repurpose.io. So let's say I want to go ahead and set up this connection from this 6005 Instagram account, and I want to send that content over to this Sierra Ryan Snapchat account. So if that was the case, I would come up right here, I would click Create New Workflow, and from here, I'm just going to follow the steps. Now, again, I want to make sure that I name this exactly what it is on my mind map as well. So I'm going to call this TikTok 6005, and that's going to point to Snapchat Miss Sierra Ryan. Okay, so that I know this particular automation is taking content from that TikTok account and sending it to this Snapchat account. I'm gonna hit next, and now we're choosing the source, which again is TikTok. And now I'm choosing the specific TikTok account under source connection. So I have these two separate TikTok accounts, and I want to make sure to choose the 6005 TikTok account. I'm going to hit next. And now the action, we just want to leave that on upload video. Mode, full video. Again, just going to leave that as it is. I'm going to hit next. And now the destination. So this is where I want to actually connect it to Snapchat. In this case, would be the destination. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to choose that Snapchat account right here, Snap, Miss Sierra Ryan. And now it says choose public profile. So I'm going to leave that, and then type Spotlight, which for those of you that don't know, Spotlight is basically the equivalent of Instagram Reels. Okay, so now I'm just going to hit done. And now that workflow is set up. So if I come back to my workflows right here, we can see this new connection has been added, TikTok 6005 over to Snap Miss Sierra Ryan. Now again, obviously I've already done this, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this workflow because I already have one. But the other important thing to keep in mind is that you want to customize your settings to make sure that it's customized for that particular platform, whatever platform that it's going to. So for example, if we look at this connection down here, the TikTok 6005 is sending content to this YouTube account right here. Well, if I open up my settings, we can see that under custom text, I put all my links with Sierra's beacons page right here, because obviously in YouTube you can add a description with a link and stuff like that. So this is going to automatically populate the description with Sierra's link. I also have, if we scroll down here, we have this automatically add first comment. So every time a video is posted on YouTube from here, it's going to automatically add a comment in the comment section as well, with her link there as well. So you want to make sure that you do this with each individual platform to make sure you're customizing for that platform. So in this case, when the video is sent from TikTok over to Facebook, if I open up the settings here, we can see the same thing. I've added a custom text because Facebook Reels allows you to add a link in the description. And so again, I've got a custom call to action with Sierra's link right here, and that's going to be automatically posted on every single Facebook video that comes through this automation. Or if I look at the Twitter one, for example, we can see that I have a bunch of hashtags right here that are on the spicier side, because I probably wouldn't be able to get away with using these hashtags on Instagram, but Twitter is not going to have a problem with these hashtags. So in this case, I went ahead and put all of these, spicy hashtags. So every time a video goes over to Twitter, it's going to automatically have all of these hashtags, and that will, in some cases, help the video get more views. Okay, so again, if we look at the mind map right here, every time time a video is posted onto TikTok, it's going to automatically go to Snapchat, Instagram, and then when it goes to Facebook, it's going to automatically add that call to action with a link. When it goes to Twitter, it's going to automatically add all of those hashtags. When it goes to YouTube, it's going to automatically add that description and the comment. And then I also have one more automation here with Tumblr, which I'm using a separate app to build that automation. Honestly, this is not proven to be very useful at all, so we can just go ahead and skip Tumblr. But again, we also have one other thing going on here. We have this Google Drive folder, which I can just go ahead and upload a bunch of videos into this Google Drive folder, and it's going to automatically schedule those videos, and it's going to send those out once a day to TikTok. So how did I set that up? Well, if we go into repurpose, we can find that automation right here. The thing is, with this particular automation, I have this one set up to go out on a time schedule, because obviously if I drop 50 videos into that Google Drive folder, I don't want all 50 of those videos to just instantly be uploaded to TikTok and get the account banned or something like that. So I have this one on a time schedule. The way that you do that is as soon as I click this auto button from manual to auto, it's going to ask me a few questions right here. So first, it's going to ask me if I want this to be based on a publishing schedule or if I want it to be based as soon as possible. So in this case, I want this one to be based on a publishing schedule. The second option here is I can choose new content only. However, if you have something like, 1,000 videos in an old Google Drive folder, you can actually set up one of these automations to start posting all of your old videos that you've collected over the course of years or whatever, and start posting those once a day or twice a day or however you want to set that up. So if I were to click these options, we can see that I can select all content, new and existing. So there's a few different options here. In my case, all of the videos in that folder have already posted, so I obviously don't want to post them again. And so for that reason, I'm going to have this set to new content only. Every time I drop new videos into that folder, it's going to start scheduling them. And then the other option here is I can click oldest to newest or newest to oldest. In this case, I like to have it on oldest to newest. And now I can go ahead and move on to the next step. This is where we set up the actual schedule. So in my case, I have it set up to post a video every day at 4 p.m. So for example, if I were to drop 50 videos into that folder, it's going to start scheduling them to be sent to that TikTok account at 4 p.m. once a day. And that's it. So again, if we look at the mind map here, if I were to drop 50 videos into this Google Drive folder, it's going to start sending one video per day at 4 p.m. over to TikTok. And then as soon as that video is published on TikTok, TikTok is going to automatically repost it to all of these other accounts over here. And then when it goes to Facebook, it's going to add a link with a call to action. When it goes to Twitter, it's going to add all of those hashtags. When it goes to YouTube, it's going to add a link in the description along with a comment. And so hopefully that adds some clarity on how to specifically set that up. Now, again, there's a million different ways to do this. This is just the way that I have it set up at the moment. You can set it up however it makes sense for your particular strategy. There's a million different ways to do it. And obviously every single person's strategy is going to be a little bit different. So of course, just, do it however it makes sense for you. Okay, so in this one, I just wanted to sort of break down my thought process when I'm getting started, or just kind of how to, get the ball rolling, and some different things to think about when you're getting started here. So these are some questions that were asked recently in the group, and I think these are some really good questions to cover here. So number one says, since I haven't created any videos yet, do you think it's a good idea to first create a TikTok or an Instagram dummy account on only one platform, test videos first, and then think about adding some sort of revenue stream and repurposing only once you gain momentum and know what's working? What starting path do you suggest for absolute beginners? And so the way that I would go about this is, basically exactly what she is saying there. I would start out in a sort of testing phase here. And so the testing phase would look something like this, where, I have a Google Drive folder right here, and I would either be posting my videos directly into this Google Drive folder. They would be sent directly to TikTok, And then after they hit TikTok, they'll be sent to the rest of the other platforms. Or I may upload some of those videos directly into TikTok itself, and I'll do that in scenarios where if I want to use a very specific sound inside of the TikTok platform, then I'll upload directly into TikTok and post the video that way. So in this scenario, TikTok would sort of be considered my main account or my primary account. It's completely up to you what you decide to use as your primary account or your main account. Generally, you're going to want to be using either TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram as your primary account. And so during this testing phase, you're essentially just posting all kinds of random content on the account. So as you can see here, I have just a ton of random stuff. This is basically just a demo account. This is where I post the videos, when I'm creating little demonstrations on YouTube and stuff. This is where I post those videos. So it's just a collection of random videos, different niches. We have, little babies, Mortal Kombat babies. We've got the pet niche. We've got the luxury niche. We've got the bizarre niche. We've got the fantasy niche. We've got Pokemon and just all kinds of random stuff. And so if you're still trying to sort of decide and choose and test different things, this is the best way to go about it. And then you can sort of start to identify what is getting the best results for you. So on this account, we can see one of the luxury videos has above average views with 1,000 views there. We can see another one of the luxury videos here is doing decent with 3,000 views there. And then we can also see that, the Mortal Kombat babies have 5,000 views there. But this really allows you to start identifying patterns in terms of what is performing the best for you. And so I might look at this account and I might say, okay, the luxury niche is showing some signs of success here. And so I might want to go all in on the luxury niche, assuming that I can actually find a decent monetization strategy to plug in to this niche. And that's another important point. If I'm looking at some of these videos and I'm saying, hey, this really has a lot of potential, but I'm not able to really identify a really good monetization strategy for that, then that's not necessarily something that I would move forward with. Now, for anyone who's read my little intro, you know that one of the niches that I work in is the OnlyFans niche. So this is really the primary use case that I'm using when it comes to these AI generated videos is the AI influencer type of videos. And you also know that, one of the things that I really like to talk about in my group is that you don't necessarily need to be getting insane amounts of views. You don't necessarily need to be going viral all the time if you have proper systems. And so you might look at an account like this and say, oh, well, it's okay, but it's not really doing anything that amazing. And that's true until we look at the sort of back end system of what's happening underneath, the surface level social media accounts that we see. And so again, one of the big points that I try to make is that, if you have proper systems and you have proper strategy, then that's a lot more predictable, a lot more sustainable, and a lot more scalable than simply just trying to go lucky and get viral and make money from ad revenue. Because if you're dependent on going viral, a lot of times that's outside of our control. Just because you're going viral today doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be like that forever. And so having proper systems is what really removes the luck factor when you're trying to build a business. Now, I don't want you to get too caught up on this. This might look pretty complex or complicated or whatever, but really all that it is just a bigger version of this. It's, I started with this very simple automation flow right here, and you just continue to build off of that over time. Okay, but without getting too ahead of myself, again, phase one is essentially you're just testing different types of content, you're testing different types of niches so that you can start to identify what you like, what might work for you, and then try to figure out some potential monetization strategies for that. Once you've done that, you can move into phase two, and this is essentially where you've chosen your primary niche. Just for example, let's say you've chosen the pet niche, and at this point you've also identified what you want your main platform to be. And so let's say, for example, you started out where you had TikTok as your main account, but then you started to realize, oh, Instagram is actually working a lot better for the pet niche. So you would then, basically want to use Instagram as your primary account and set up the repurposing to these additional accounts. All right. It's also at this stage that you should be setting up your monetization strategy, your actual business strategy. And again, that's really just going to come down to figuring out which of these monetization strategies is going to work the best with your particular content style, your particular niche, and so on. And there is no perfect, straightforward way to know exactly what is the best, monetization strategy, what is the best this or that. A lot of these things really just come down to going with the thing that makes sense to you, trying it out. If it doesn't work, you pivot and you try something else. You try a new strategy. There's no way that I can tell you this is exactly what you should do, because even for myself, I've been doing this stuff for over 10 years. And even when I'm trying to, start new projects or do different things, it really just comes down to putting in the work, putting in the reps, testing things to see what happens, try things out. If it's not a good fit, you move on, you try something else. This is where a lot of people never really make it past this step, because they might try one thing, it doesn't work, and then they just throw the whole idea away saying, oh, this doesn't work, blah, 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 whatever, when in reality, they just needed to tweak it. They needed to try a different angle. They needed to use a different offer or whatever the case may be. Okay. And then finally, moving on to phase 3, this is where, you've got your strategy set up, you've got your system set up. And at this point, all you're really doing is trying to optimize your funnels and your conversions. Okay. If your social media accounts are getting a lot of views and they're getting a lot of traffic, but you're not getting any conversions on your offer, then chances are you need to test a different offer, or you need to create a better bridge, meaning you might have to set up a landing page in between your social accounts and your offer that has a better demonstration. It explains your offer. That's going to help people understand the value of what your offer actually is. And so when they go to your offer, the probability of them purchasing your offer is going to be significantly higher. Again, this is another one of those things that nobody can tell you exactly what to do here. All of these types of things are very contextual and they're very situational, depending on the exact way that you're doing things, your niche, your content, understanding specifically who your audience is and what they want, what they need, and so on. Now, just to finish up with these other questions here, the next question was, there are a few costs associated with monthly subscriptions for AI tools that add up quickly. Should you create a company in order to apply these costs once you start generating money? Is it better to start with an LLC from the beginning, or later on just to subscribe under your personal name? And so, yes, ideally you'll want to start with an LLC, and that way you can, keep track of all your business expenses and write off your expenses and so forth. And that's true regardless if you're doing, a content AI business like this or any other business. So no matter what you do, it is, very important to set up your LLC and make sure that you keep all of your business expenses, separated from your personal expenses and so on. And one more question that I get quite a lot here is, a lot of people will, say things like this, where their account is stuck at 200 or 300 views, or, even 0 views in many cases. And the thing is, it's very, very normal, for accounts to start out like that. I mean, even on this demo account, we can see 16 views, 23 views, 200 views, 90, 289, 290. And the thing is, these platforms are trying to decide if you're a legitimate content creator. And the more content that you create and prove that you're a legitimate creator, there is a trust score of sorts that these platforms use to determine if you're a spammer or if you're a real content creator, or if you're actually providing value on the platform. So, in the beginning, they don't know you, they don't trust you, they're not going to give you a whole lot of distribution. But as you continue to go and as you continue to bring value to the platform, they're going to start trusting you a little bit more, and they're going to start giving you a little bit more distribution. And so if you're just getting started and you've only, created 5 or 10 or 15 videos, just go into it knowing you're not going to have a whole lot of views in the beginning. And it's another one of those things that are case by case for everybody. But in general, I don't even attempt to look at my results or judge my results until I've posted at least 30 to 60 videos. And of course, there's many other factors. You want to make sure that you are posting original content. You're not just downloading other people's content and trying to tweak it a little bit. That's still considered duplicate content. They're not going to give you views for that kind of stuff. Obviously, you also have to be creating good content that's very entertaining. It has good watch time. People are watching it from the beginning to the end. So even if the platforms trust you, that doesn't necessarily guarantee you're going to get views if people are not actually interested in your content. In any case, I hope this was helpful in terms of just, showing you how I sort of think about things when I'm getting started with new projects, businesses, whatever. And that's pretty much it for this one, and I will see you in the next video.